So I also start with expressing deep gratitude to the group, to former teachers, mentors, and everybody at Creative Social Theory, Foundation for Creative Social Research, Association for Creative Theory for giving students, young researchers, young scholars a space to speak about newer ideas. I'll also go back to our center and talk about some of my own work, which was very difficult to put on the table because it did not really fit into the canonical liberal frame of understanding politics, and some of the I don't want to embarrass Maninder sir because it then seems like he's kind of evacuated all of us from there, but the fact that he was willing to listen to emotions and affect and engage with those ideas. So from that context, I'm here. I would probably not be able to do what Rityusha and Professor Madhulika Banerjee did of giving you a larger picture. I don't think that is not what I think I can do, but I will do three things, which is I'll pick some of the things that were said in the last 2.5 days and some of the things which were said right now, and then maybe think in terms of what I think I would take back home today. I also want to mention that we have an extended online colloquium on the 14th and the 15th, so this is not the end of discussion, and we'll probably have other series throughout the year, so the discussion has just begun, so to say. The first thing where I want to tie up, the first thing that I want to say and what I want to tie up here is the question of technology and archive. In one of the panels, the question of do digital objects exist? Do digital sentiments exist? Do digital emotions exist? That kind of question I want to raise. And I certainly believe that the combustibility of digital objects is not that digital objects are real, that there's something happening there that needs to be taken into account. And the archive with the capital A, which is historical state archive, which is done in a certain way, it's an old building, it's cumbersome to kind of, excavate information, knowledge out from. I think there's a way in which digital archiving with a smaller a has the capacity for what was said yesterday on the panel and what Professor Banerjee repeated, that the contemporary is the story of technology, social media. So there's a certain way in which if historians of tomorrow were to look at us, they would be able to look at a certain digital archive that is being constantly created. And I will go back to some of the things that were said today with respect to memification and a certain way in which there is a dominant majoritarian way of creating digital sentiments, emotions, affect, as well as objects. I would also like to, for us to consider that there is also an alternative way of creating alternative sentiments as well, and to locate the image and then the video of Neeraj Chopra who won the silver medal in the Olympics. The fact that his mother was randomly presented with a mic to give comments on the fact that he lost his gold to a Pakistani Muslim player, and in the most natural fashion, in her classic Haryanvi, she comes back and she says that ki jo gold jeeta hai, wo bhi hamara hi ladka hai, translating to the one that was won gold is also our son. So there's a certain way. Now, why I'm highlighting this here is this could have been an obscure conversation video online, but I saw so many of us finding that video through reshare, and there was a certain way in which that video was being pinned as being a video of hope. So there is also a counter conversation which is creating a certain digital archive for us to build on in terms of politics of trust, politics of hope. And these parallel archives for historians of tomorrow, if not for theorists of today, will be a very important resource for us to tap into and look at what then one could think of in terms of, archive of establishing or talking about what can hate and then what can counter compassion, love, trust do to societies. From this, I'll take on to the second thing, which everybody's spoken about in terms of creative theory and creation of affective communities, which is what I think creative theory really is. We are an affective community of friends, mentors who come together, and there is more to just in the way that Ritisha just pointed out. There are normative questions, there are moral questions, but there are also questions of friendship. And something that I've been thinking about for some time now is, what do we do with the liberal, non-liberal concepts of justice and equality and liberty and the rest of it without friendship? So is there a way to think about non-hierarchical spaces which are based on friendship and not ascriptive affinities? And can creatively we could think of what would friendship do to politics, to society? And is there then a way for us to think of affect communities online and then mobilizations, etc.? Because there's a certain way, and very this generation kind of an example is the music, the band called BTS, and the people across the world calling themselves ARMY. I was introduced to it, but the most interesting thing was that there was a very strong political intent behind their messages and their music, wherein people said, well, in this individualized world, neoliberal world, there was certain hope that their music presented. And I think technology is one way that that music brand could reach the rest of the world. So the second thing that I want to, I'm taking home this evening is, can we build an effective community, both in the physical, but also on the social, also with respect to the technological, and it kind of connects with my archive. The third thing that I'm saying is connecting the two is, what can I do individually? How will I build an effective community? And I'm thinking in terms of creating individual, personal, creative archive online. So coming back to the paper on cognitive freedom and how we, instead of thinking that social media technology is an extension of us, instead of feeling as if we could use it for creating moral, normative ideas, instead it feels like we are entrapped by it. What can we do with that entrapment? And taking a cue from that kind of paper, that kind of understanding, what would a creative, personal archive look like? What can I do on social media instead of the radical disengagement which was being suggested? I'm not very sure if radical disengagement is even possible, or for that matter desirable. So as creatively as could be possible, what would a creative archive of my life, or of my politics, of my work, of my society, and of my affective community do for me to be able to connect with similar such presence? So those are my three things that I thought I could pick from everything that happened in the last 2 days, and I would like to take back. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks.